You won't believe how these lottery winners turn their dream fortunes into tragic nightmares. But what went wrong after hitting the jackpot? Let's uncover their stories. Number 13. Jane Park. $1.27 million or £1 million. In 2013, Jane Park's life took an unexpected turn when, at just 17 years old, she won $1.27 million in the Euro Millions lottery. For someone who had been earning a modest wage at an office job, this win seemed like a ticket to a dream life. However, Jane's story is a testament to how sudden wealth at a young age can be overwhelming and potentially harmful. Initially, Jane did what many would dream of doing with £1 million. Her first big purchase was a Louis Vuitton handbag, a symbol of the luxury lifestyle she now thought she could lead. She went on to splurge on expensive cars, luxurious holidays, and even plastic surgery. But as the excitement of extravagant spending wore off, Jane found herself grappling with feelings of depression and loneliness. The lifestyle she had thought would bring her happiness was instead leaving her unfulfilled and isolated. Jane's experience highlights the complexities that come with winning a large sum of money, particularly for someone so young. Without the maturity and guidance to manage such a windfall, the joy of winning can quickly turn into a burden. Jane herself expressed that she felt the money had brought more problems than solutions, even suggesting at one point that the legal age for playing the lottery should be raised. Our next tale in the series unveils yet another unique and intriguing perspective on the life-changing effects of a lottery win. Number 12. Denise Rossi. $1.3 million. Denise Rossi's life took an unexpected turn when she won a staggering $1.3 million in the lottery. In a twist that defies the typical lottery win story, Denise chose to keep her windfall a secret, not even sharing the news with her husband Thomas. They'd been married for 25 years, but faced with the sudden prospect of wealth, Denise's decision set off a chain of events that turned her fortune into a misadventure. Instead of joy, the lottery win brought deception into Denise's marriage. Shortly after her win, she filed for divorce, offering no explanation to her bewildered husband. It was only during the divorce proceedings that Thomas discovered the truth about the lottery win. Denise had hoped to keep the entire prize for herself, but her plan backfired dramatically. The law has a way of catching up with dishonesty, and in Denise's case, it did just that. Her failure to disclose the lottery win in the divorce was deemed fraudulent. In a striking turn of events, the judge awarded all of her lottery winnings to her ex-husband. It was a harsh lesson in honesty and the consequences of deceit. If this story has left you amazed, the next lottery winner's tale is another eye-opener, with twists and turns that are equally as unexpected. Number 11. Ibi Ranchioli. $5 million. In 2003, Ibi Ranchioli's life changed dramatically when she won a staggering $5 million in the lottery. Living in Ontario with her husband, Dr. Joseph Ranchioli, they seemed like a well-off, happy couple. But as it often happens, the lottery win brought more than just financial gain. It brought secrets and turmoil to the surface. Ibi's decision on how to manage her winnings was the first twist in her story. Instead of lavish spending sprees, she quietly gave away a huge portion of the money to a secret son, a decision that would have significant consequences. Her husband, unaware of this son, was shocked to find their life savings drastically diminished. This revelation shook the foundation of their 30-year marriage. Arguments ensued, trust was broken, and their relationship, once solid, was now on rocky ground. But the story takes an even darker turn. In 2003, Ibi was found dead in their upscale home. Initially thought to be natural causes, an autopsy revealed something far more sinister. Her body showed needle marks and high levels of drugs. The investigation pointed towards Joseph, who claimed he was checking her for blood due to her poor health. However, the evidence told a different story, and he was eventually sentenced to prison. What appeared to be a stroke of good fortune turned into a series of tragic events, leading to a once happy home being shattered by greed, secrets, and ultimately death. Brace yourself for the next story, which is even more intriguing. Number 10. Doris Murray, $5 million. In 2005, Doris Murray's life took an unexpected turn when she won a remarkable $5 million in the Georgia State Lottery. Unlike many who might have splashed out on extravagances, Doris chose the path of modesty and foresight. A mother of 4, her plan was simple yet noble: to set up a trust fund for her grandchildren, ensuring their future was secure. She opted for yearly installments of $172,000 over 20 years, a decision reflecting her careful and thoughtful approach to newfound wealth. However, the dream soon turned into a nightmare. Tragedy struck just a year after her win. Doris was found dead in her home in Dublin, Georgia. The culprit? Her former boyfriend, Derek Lorenzo Stanley. The story goes that after a heated argument and a failed attempt to end the relationship, Stanley, in a fit of rage, took Doris's life. The police, alerted by family members who saw Stanley leaving her apartment with blood on his face, arrested him after a tense car chase. Doris's story shows how money, even when handled wisely, can't shield us from life's darker elements. Her intentions were good, her plans solid, but her life was cut short in a brutal twist of fate. The lottery win that should have been a blessing for her and her family became a backdrop to a tragic ending. This story isn't just about the loss of a lottery winner, it's about the unforeseen impacts of sudden wealth on personal relationships and security. If the unsettling story of Doris Murray's fate has captured your attention, the next winner's experience will also leave a lasting impression. Number 9. Evelyn Bazer, $5.4 million. In the mid-1980s, Evelyn Bazer's life seemed to be touched by extraordinary luck. She won the lottery not once, but twice within a span of 4 months. The first win in 1985 brought her $3.9 million, and soon after, another $1.4 million followed. To many, this would seem like the ultimate stroke of good fortune, a rare twist of fate that could solve all of life's problems. However, Evelyn's story is a stark illustration that money doesn't guarantee a happy ending. Evelyn, perhaps believing in her seemingly unending luck, took her winnings to the casinos. She gambled, hoping to multiply her fortune, driven by the same luck that had twice made her a millionaire. But as it often happens in the world of gambling, her winning streak ended. The casinos, which once seemed like gateways to greater riches, became black holes, absorbing her lottery fortune. Her financial misadventures didn't just stop at gambling losses. Evelyn's life after the lottery became a cautionary tale of how quickly fortune can slip through one's fingers. The last reports on Evelyn painted a picture of a drastic reversal of fortune. From a double lottery winner to living in a trailer park and working 2 jobs to make ends meet. If you think this is tragic, wait till you check out the next person on the list. Number 8. Victoria Zell, $11 million. In 2001, Victoria Zell's life took a dramatic turn when she and her then-husband won an $11 million jackpot from the Minnesota Powerball. You'd think this would be the start of a happy new chapter, but for Victoria, it was the beginning of a tragic downfall. Instead of bringing joy and stability, the money led her down a path of self-destruction. Victoria's story is not one of lavish spending or extravagant purchases, but rather of personal turmoil. Within 4 years of the win, she found herself entangled in legal troubles, including charges for possessing methamphetamine. But the real turning point came in 2005, marking a devastating low in her life. After a day filled with drinking and cocaine use, Victoria decided to take her friends on a reckless drive, proclaiming she would show them how to drive crazy. The result was catastrophic. The SUV rolled over, leading to the tragic death of one passenger and leaving another permanently paralyzed. For Victoria, the lottery win that should have been a blessing quickly turned into a curse. Her subsequent sentence of 7.5 years in prison was a stark contrast to the life of luxury she might have imagined when she first won. If the tragic tale of Victoria Zell has left you reflecting on the unpredictable nature of fortune, the journey of the next lottery winner is just as compelling. Number 7. Keith Goff, $11.4 million or 9 million pounds. In 2005, Keith Goff couldn't believe his luck when he won $11.4 million in the lottery. He thought his life was set, but it turned out to be the start of a downward spiral. Keith went on a spending spree, buying racehorses, fancy cars, and throwing big parties. It seemed fun at first, but the money went as quickly as it came. His love for horse racing became a costly addiction. Soon, Keith's life wasn't just about luxury anymore, it was about losing control. The constant spending and his new lifestyle put a strain on his marriage. After a while, his wife had enough and left him. This hit Keith hard. He thought the lottery win was a dream come true, but it turned into a nightmare. The worst part was, his health started to suffer. The stress from all the changes, the loss of his wife, and the way he was living took a toll on him. In the end, Keith's story is a sad one. He passed away, a clear example of how a big win can lead to big problems. If you think Keith's story is shocking, wait until you hear about the next winner who faced even more trouble after their lottery win. Number 6. Michael Carroll, $12.3 million or 9.7 million pounds. In 2002, Michael Carroll's life turned upside down when, at the tender age of 19, he won a massive 9.7 million pounds, 12.3 million USD, in the UK National Lottery. You might think winning such a fortune at a young age would set him up for a life of ease and comfort. However, Michael's story is a stark reminder that wealth without wisdom can lead to ruin. From the moment he claimed his prize, Michael embarked on a wild spending spree. He purchased a luxurious mansion and customized it extravagantly, even building a demolition derby racetrack in the back garden. His days began with cocaine and vodka, and his nights were filled with lavish parties that seemed to never end. He lived a life that many would see in a rock star, not a teenage lottery winner. But the high life had a steep price. His excessive lifestyle not only drained his fortune, but also alienated his family and friends. The people who cared about him couldn't stand to watch him spiral out of control and gradually distance themselves. His wife and child, unable to cope with his reckless behavior, left him. As the money ran out, so did the people who once surrounded him for his wealth. His fortune, instead of bringing happiness and security, led him down a path of self-destruction. From a multi-millionaire to being broke, his journey is an example of how money can be as fleeting as it is enticing. As we absorb the lessons from Michael's tumultuous experience, the next story in our series reveals yet another unexpected twist in the life of a lottery winner. Number 5. Connie Parker, $25 million. In 2003, Connie Parker's life changed dramatically when she won a substantial $25 million in the lottery. Most people dream of sharing such a windfall with their loved ones, but Connie's story took a different turn. Instead of joy and unity, her lottery win became a source of discord and division, particularly with her husband, Kenneth. Rather than bringing them closer, the lottery win drove a wedge between Connie and Kenneth. Connie decided not to share her winnings with her husband. In a surprising move, she purchased a new condo with her lottery money and locked Kenneth out. This act marked the beginning of the end for their marriage, leading to a bitter and contentious divorce. Kenneth, feeling betrayed and hurt, took legal action against Connie. He sued her, and the court battle resulted in a $3 million settlement in his favor. However, the story doesn't have a happy ending for Kenneth either. Less than a year after the settlement, he passed away from cancer, adding a layer of tragedy to this tale of lottery fortune. The next winner's life was a dream turned nightmare too. Number 4. David Lee Edwards, $27 million. In 2001, David Lee Edwards' life took a dramatic turn when he won a massive $27 million in the Kentucky Powerball. Coming from a background marked by struggles and legal troubles, this win seemed like a miraculous turnaround. However, David's story soon unfolded as a cautionary tale about the pitfalls of rapid and reckless wealth. With newfound riches in hand, David embarked on a spending spree of epic proportions. He splurged on luxury cars, a mansion, and an array of extravagant items, from medieval armor collections to high-end electronics. His lifestyle became a public spectacle of opulence and excess. But the glamour and excitement were short-lived. Within a year, David had spent an astonishing $12 million, a rate of expenditure that was unsustainable by any measure. As the money dwindled, so did David's health and relationships. His unchecked spending led to deep debt, and his reckless lifestyle resulted in severe health issues. The man who once had everything was facing the stark reality of losing it all. By 2006, his fortune was gone. His marriage had fallen apart, and he found himself living in destitution. However, the next person on our list had a similar fate. Number 3. Billy Bob Harrell Jr. $31 million. In 2003, Billy Bob Harrell Jr.'s life transformed when he won a staggering $31 million in the Texas Lotto. Initially, it seemed like a blessing for Billy Bob, who had been struggling with low-paying jobs and supporting his family. The first of his $1.24 million annual payouts appeared to be a beacon of hope. He indulged in the newfound wealth, quitting his job, taking his family on a Hawaiian vacation, and generously donating to his church and community. But Billy Bob's story is a poignant example of how a windfall can lead to unexpected challenges. His generosity, while admirable, opened a floodgate of requests for help. He started receiving constant calls from strangers asking for money, leading to a loss of privacy and peace. Moreover, he made a financially disastrous deal with a company that offered lump sum payments in exchange for annual lottery checks, significantly reducing his total winnings. Within a year, the pressure and the drastic change in his lifestyle began to take a toll. Billy Bob and his wife Barbara Jean separated, a clear sign that the lottery win was bringing more stress than joy. Tragically, in 1999, nearly 2 years after his lottery win, Billy Bob was found dead in his home from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. His fortune, which was supposed to be a source of happiness, had become a burden too heavy to bear. If you think this was tragic, wait till you hear about the next lottery winner. Number 2. Rachel Kennedy and Liam McCrohan. $250.3 million, or 228 million euros. In 2021, Rachel Kennedy and Liam McCrohan, a young British couple, thought they had hit the jackpot, literally. Rachel had been playing the same numbers on her Euro Millions lottery tickets every week, and one fateful week, their numbers finally came up. The prize? A jaw-dropping $250.3 million. The couple was ecstatic, dreaming of all the ways their lives were about to change. They started planning the things they'd buy, the places they'd see. It was the kind of windfall you hear about in fairy tales. But their fairy tale was short-lived. When Rachel checked her online ticket, something was off. The ticket, which should have been their golden ticket to a new life, wasn't there. Confused and worried, they contacted the lottery officials and received the shock of their lives. Due to a payment error, their ticket hadn't actually been purchased. They had all the right numbers, but no ticket to claim the prize. It was a heartbreaking realization. From being on top of the world to having their dreams shattered in an instant, the emotional roller coaster must have been intense. This story isn't just about a missed opportunity. It's about the fragility of luck and how quickly fortune can turn. If the story of Rachel and Liam's almost win has caught your attention, wait till you hear about the next winner, whose lottery journey took an entirely different turn. Number 1. Andrew Jack Whitaker. $315 million. In 2002, Andrew Jack Whitaker, already a millionaire, struck gold with a whopping $315 million Powerball win. You'd think a man with his wealth would have it all figured out, but his fortune soon became misfortune. Andrew's story isn't just about losing money. It's about how a huge win can turn life upside down. After the win, Andrew started off with good intentions, setting up a foundation to help others. But money like that brings its own set of problems. First came the thieves. Not once, but multiple times, they broke into his car, stealing hundreds of thousands. It's as if his lottery win was a magnet for trouble. And it didn't stop there. His granddaughter, whom he loved dearly, got caught up in the wrong crowd and substances. Sadly, she passed away, leaving Andrew and his family in deep sorrow. But the tragedies kept piling up. His daughter also passed away under tragic circumstances. Andrew's fortune, which seemed like a blessing, was turning his life into a series of heartbreaks. He said it himself once that winning the lottery was the worst thing that ever happened to him. And you can see why. His family was torn apart, and he faced one personal loss after another. The money that was supposed to bring happiness instead brought grief and misfortune. Andrew ended up in legal troubles and financial disputes. The once multi-million-dollar fortune dwindled rapidly. It's a harsh reminder that money, especially a sudden windfall, can bring unexpected and sometimes unwelcome changes to life. As we've just witnessed, hitting the lottery jackpot can sometimes lead to more than just financial gain. It can bring unforeseen challenges and heartache. These 13 stories are harsh reminders that wealth can have unexpected consequences. Curious about how other winners handled their wins smartly? Be sure to catch our next video.